Nah, I'm not muted anymore. Appreciate you, Thomas. Appreciate you. So I went on and on and on with no volume. I think I'm good now. All right. So let me start off. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody for sending in questions. I think I came up with about 10 or so questions to answer today. I appreciate you guys for doing that. It just give us some good content, when it's not filmed to actually go by. If you want to be a part of this show, this is the first episode of Questions with Coach Season 2. If you want to be a part of this show, the email to send your questions to is siptotally@gmail.com. Send your email there with your question. And some questions tend to be twofold, so I count that as individual questions. But again, thank you guys for being here. Thomas, I appreciate you for, hooking me up and letting me know that I was muted because I was just rambling on and on and on and on. But without any further ado, let's really just get into it. What up, 86 Ghosts, Like Father, Like Son, Thomas Morgan, Bruno, Ray Jack. I appreciate you also. Let's dive right into the first question, though. All right. What do you think about Rashad Bateman, wide out of Minnesota? That's this guy right here on the screen. And so, I haven't found tape of Minnesota yet, even though he's on my list. So I just went through a couple of highlights, and this is what I saw from the highlights. First off, here, DSGB, which for those that don't know and not familiar with Pastor Troy, he's a down south Georgia boy from Tiff County, Georgia. From what I saw on the highlight tape, he makes catches in traffic. He attacks the ball at like high pointing the ball and plucking the ball out the air. And he has elite Big Ten speed. Now, I had to throw air quotes on that for elite Big Ten speed, because elite Big Ten speed might be average in the SEC. And for those that don't know, I kind of had that SEC bias, but and nobody caught him from the back. Nobody caught him. Nobody caught up with him. Nobody ran him down. So he had elite Big Ten speed. Now, how that transfers to the SEC, which is the NFL's minor league, I'm not sure. But that's my thoughts on Rashad Bateman, I think. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's 6'2", 210. So that's a plus for him, especially if he's going to be, considered for Baltimore. He's 6'2", 210. We don't need any more short receivers. All right, moving on. Next question. Do you think we could sign Allen Robinson? Do you think we can sign Allen Robinson? And I throw this picture up here of Allen real quick. This guy right here. Do you think we can sign Allen Robinson? So I don't know if we're going to have enough money to do that with all the money that we're going to be putting out here soon. But who's to say, even though he liked the tweet, he really wants to come to Baltimore? We were ranked 32 in throwing the ball. Kind of, I'm not going to call him a diva guy, but top tier guys want to catch the ball. So who's to say he would even consider coming to Baltimore, and he's not going to get top dollar? So do I think we could sign him? No, I don't. For those two reasons. He's not going to get top dollar, and he's not going to probably get the targets that he would want to get the production that he would want. I'm not sure how old he is, so his next contract may be his big one. But I just don't think it'll work. I don't. Because he's going to have to sacrifice, because we're a running team. That's why I think we have to home grow our receivers. Or we get those guys that on the back end of their career that really just wants to win. That's, receivers that are about production. Our offense don't fit that. That's what I got to say about it. Our offense don't fit that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Says, would you prefer to start? Would you prefer Ben Powers, Tyree Phillips, Patrick McCarry starting at right guard next year? Let me throw this up here. I think this is Ben. Yeah, this is Ben. So, would I prefer Ben Powers, Tyree Phillips, or Patrick McCarry starting at right guard next year? You also got to throw Bredeson's name in there too. But just based off from what I saw last year, I would say Ben Powers. Because even though Ben had a crappy playoff game, the second playoff game, for the most part, Ben did his thing. And pretty much this was his rookie year because he didn't play much the year before that. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Ben, but we got to find us somebody to fill in at that center spot because of them snaps. We got bad snaps from two different people, but you didn't ask that question. But I'm gonna say Ben Powers, or maybe Bredesen. But Ben looked like the front runner to me because he played good ball other than the game versus the Bills. Other than that. All right. Which leads me directly to the next question. I'll kind of leave Ben up there since we're talking about O-line. How do you like Tristan Colon-Castillo at center when he played? I loved it. No, the snaps were not an issue. I didn't see a lot of like most rookies from good nose tackles, they tend to fall victim to the bull rush because they don't have the strength. I don't remember seeing that happen to him when he got his start. I don't, and it could have happened a time or two, or maybe even more. I don't remember talking about him enough for him to be a problem in the game. That makes sense. I wasn't watching the game saying, come on with the snaps, or why are you getting bull rushed enough for me to say anything bad about Tristan Colon-Castillo, which means he was doing his job. If you don't, complain about the snaps or about being bull rushed or pushed back in the quarterback, that means the center doing his job. And I think he held on and did his job. And I told somebody recently that if we had preseason games, he might have been in the mix for that job. So I enjoyed Tristan Colon-Castillo when he played, and he's definitely probably going to be in the mix for that center spot coming up this next season, 2021 season. All right, move on to our next question. All right, and before I go on, some of the questions were longer than what you'll see on the screen, but I had to break them down enough where they would fit in the screen. So got 16 comments. Let me look and see what they're talking about before I move on. Got to get rid of Snead, some other receivers. They probably just gonna fall off. And we're gonna get younger. Robinson just wants a better QB for once. That could be possible, Bruno, because what's his quarterback name from North Carolina? What's the boy name? Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky had up, down, and I understand that. He might just want to win. He might. And I said that. Guys that just want to win and money is secondary to them, they'll come to Baltimore. What up, Big Ump? Let's see what else we got. King Tay, I see you. Corey Davis, all day in our price range. He blocks. Corey's a free agent. But I still don't think Corey's a number one, though, because he didn't live up to that number one billing when we were locking AJ down, or when AJ was hurt. And y'all, I don't know if y'all know that, but AJ had surgery on both his knees as soon as the season was over with. So that boy played almost the whole season on two hurt knees. I don't know the extent of how much he was hurt, but crazy. Lamar is top 5. Let me see what this says. Lamar's in the top 5 the last 2 seasons for pass TDs. Definitely that. And pass TDs, yeah, because we run to the red zone, then throw it. We run to the red zone and then throw it. That's why. Let's see. Let me scroll down a little further. We need to keep Dez. Wide receivers, coach. Not enough. Mitch. Maybe we should draft Terrence Marshall. And, Terrence Marshall is one of 2 dudes that matter of fact, they ain't going to answer that yet because I think that's one of the questions. Let me get back to the questions. If not, I'll come back to it. Dorsey, if I don't answer your question, I'll come back to it at the end of the questions that I already have. All right, so we got that one. All right, here we go. Do you think adding a pass-catching tight end like Hayden Hurst would be more beneficial than going for a true high-price number one we can't afford with a lower salary cap? I definitely do. I've been throwing the name Brevin Jordan out. I've been throwing it out for about 2 weeks now. If you don't know who Brevin Jordan is, he was the number one tight end coming out of high school. Went to signed at Miami. Elite pass catching ability. Thick enough to be a blocker. Probably not the greatest blocker right now, but thick enough to be a blocker. Run out the catch. I think he would fit what we do perfectly. He's not going to be a vertical burner like Pitts. Pitts is just a big wide receiver. Brevin is a for real tight end. And I think he's a little shorter than Pitts too. Brevin may be like 6'3", but elite ball skills, can make you miss. I don't think he's the greatest blocker right now, but if you throw him in the mix with Mark, with what's our tight end that got hurt? Nick Boyle. If you throw him in the mix with those three, I think you're good because he can kind of give you what Hurst gave us. You know, even though on the stat book what Hurst gave us wasn't a lot, but he gave us a lot in making people defend like different because Hurst was fast, so you had to almost defend him like a receiver, which allowed Andrews and Boyd to do other things. All right. Next question. Do you think we can snag a top rated wide receiver in the draft in later rounds because of some of the top rated players opting out this season? All right. So later in the draft. So there are about 4 to 5 guys that I think are for sure first rounders. Let's see if I can call them out. Devontae Smith, Waddle both of those guys from Alabama. I think Jamar Chase, and I think the guy we just mentioned, who somebody mentioned in the comments, the other guy from LSU, Terrence Marshall, are for sure first rounders. And I'm also starting to like Tony, the kid from Florida. I'm really starting to like Tony and his ability to make people miss, get open, and just his skill set fits the NFL better than it does college because he can do so many things, and you can't just really bracket him in the NFL like they were able to do in college. You can get him the ball on quick screens, you can get him the ball on slants, you can hike the ball to him, he can run a little wildcat. It's a ton of different things you can do with Tony, and I'm really starting to like his versatility to be a first round pick. Will he fit what we does at Baltimore? I'm not sure, but I know. Well, I don't say I know. I think he could take slants to the house. I think he could take screens to the house, which we don't call. I think he can take, the RPO stuff where we, the run pass option stuff where we hit the slants behind linebackers and stuff like that. I think he can do that. So I think he's more of an inside guy than Hollywood. And if we would go that route with Tony, Hollywood would definitely need to stay outside. Definitely. But if we go with Terrence is I ain't gonna say he's a big wide receiver, but he's like 6'1", maybe 6'1", 208 or something like that. So he's a bigger wide receiver, but he's not a big guy like that kid that's from UAB that's down at the Senior Bowl. That's a big kid, and I talked about him yesterday when I did the one-on-one, and he didn't look good, but that film was from Tuesday. Yesterday, which was Wednesday, I hadn't looked at all of it yet, but I looked at his. He had a lot better Wednesday than he did Tuesday. And that guy's, he's a bigger guy. So that may be one of the guys that we look into. I can't remember his name. Matter of fact, I got my paper right here from UAB. Give me 1 second. UAB. Austin Watkins. That's his name. Austin Watkins Jr. So, check him out. Go look at his YouTube. Go look at his highlights and check him out while you watch the Senior Bowl too. That might be a name that we can, look at later on in there. That's him right there. Austin Watkins. Somebody just put it in the chat box. All right. Let's go to the next question. All right. It says, looking at our offense this season, the biggest disappointment for me was the lack of Devin Duvernay. And this question was a long question. I had to break it down in order for it to fit. It says, do you think he can be a number 2 or a big-time player for us after a true offseason and training camp? Dude's skill set is unique because he don't drop balls. First of all, let me go back. Let me take it back a little bit. I said this about Duvernay and Prochet last year. I said because both of them were the two guys in the college that like never dropped balls. Most of Duvernay's passes came off tunnel screens, now screens, slants, short stuff where he can get the ball and then turn it to a running back. Prochet, who's not as fast as Duvernay, probably a little quicker in space than Duvernay, like can get in and out of cuts better than Duvernay, had a lot of catches to make him play taller than his 5'10" frame or whatever that was. Some high pointing some balls, making in traffic catches, great route runner, better route runner than Duvernay. But as far as Duvernay being a number 2, he has the speed to make the defense stretch. But I need to see it on the field. And the reason I say that, it's not all his fault that I didn't see it or we didn't see it. He just didn't get enough reps. And it ain't like he did bad in the reps he got. Because, I mean, Duvernay got his fair share of rookie reps. But, you know, Prochet is a route runner. Prochet got 2 reps all year. First rep, he ran a whip route and caught it and got a first down. Then maybe like the next game or next 2 games later, he got in, same formation, ran the same route. The Steelers knew it. They picked it. So I think Duvernay can be a number 2, but the offense has to open up to be able to use his talents. He's a go down the field, you know, over the middle like a glance type guy. And we just really didn't have enough complex in our passing game to even evaluate the receivers, man. That's the long and short of it. We didn't have enough complexity in our pass game to evaluate who's a great route runner, who's the best hands. We just didn't have enough. And I've been beating around the bush trying not to say that, but we just didn't have enough. We don't have enough of a picture to say if our receivers are good or not. We don't know. We really don't know. All right. Before I go to the next question, I'm gonna check the comments real quick. I got 8 new comments. Tony will bring a lot of energy to the team. Yeah, he does that. It'll be interesting to see how the draft class looks 2 or 3 years down the road, considering the unique situation of NCAA season and scouting. I don't know if a bunch of you don't know, but a lot of those seniors that were in college, they can go back. If I'm not mistaken, they can go back. Like, especially if they didn't play football, or they only had like 3 games, something like that. Them kids can go back to school for another senior year. So here's what it is. What up, Ing Raven? Say Ing Raven in the house. Team, keep it clean in the house. Appreciate you for being here. He said they never catch the ball in the Ravens offense either. True. We just don't know because we don't have enough of a whole painting. We have little spots here and spots there and spots there. We don't have a whole book on our receivers. We just don't. Enonic, let me see. What up, Coach? I think Lamar needs a second tight end target also. We just talked about that. That's what I was mentioning, Brevin Gordon. What up, Jared? Yeah, I had to let it out. And I think Rams is just confirming what I said, 6 games and they can return. Okay. Let's go back to the a few more questions that we have left. Again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's see, where were we? Almost done. We got 3 more. All right. If you were the Ravens GM at draft time, what position and or player would you draft believing he would be a key player to getting the Ravens, to the Super Bowl? Well, if I'm on the spot right now, I would have to go with Marshall. If you're making me right now make this pick, I'm gonna have to go with Marshall. But keep in mind, and that's me that's hitting the table. Keep in mind, I haven't done all of my research. I didn't watch college football like I normally do because it just was different. And I've only done 3-4 guys, as far as scouting receivers. I've done Jamar Chase. I've done Devontae Smith. I did Bateman in my classroom before I even got that question. And I also did the kid from Purdue. What's his name? Is it Rondale Moore, maybe? Is that the kid from Purdue? The fast kid. Chad, help me out. Those are the 4 guys I've looked at so far. But I have matter of fact, tomorrow when I go back to my class, I have a list on my board of guys that I'm going to do. I'll screenshot that and put it on my IG so you'll know the guys that I'm going to do as far as receivers. All right, but if I'm on the spot right now to make this pick, I'm going to say Marshall. I'm going to say Marshall. All right. Let's see. 2 more questions. I think Lamar needs to hire someone from the outside to help him read defenses quicker. And this was a long question too. I had to shorten it to put it on stream. Who would you recommend he work with this summer besides his normal coach? Let me get a little closer. Whoever Patrick Mahomes works with, go work with that guy. All right. Simple as that. Simple as that. And even if not, go find Jordan Palmer. Go find Carson Palmer. Go find Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner got you down pat. Go find Kurt Warner. I know them guys would love for, well, I don't know because I don't know them, but I would think those guys would love to get a call or a message from Lamar saying, hey, can I come out and have a couple of sessions with you and learn? Because the thing is, if you bounce around in the offseason, and they got plenty of time to bounce around, and you learn one thing from Kurt Warner, you learn one thing from the Palmer brothers, you learn one thing from anybody, whoever trains Mahomes. But you still got your go-to guy that you work with in South Florida. So, you just put all these things together and it makes you still a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and you put it all in your mix and make your gumbo. That's how that works. All right. Bunch of comments after this question. Let me see what y'all talking about. Robinson would be expensive. No, I'm sorry, too far. Oh, we got a super chat. Here we go. Renee Rodriguez. Would Allen Robinson be a good fit? And we should rock with what we got. So Allen Robinson actually led the show. Renee, we talked about Allen Robinson, and they asked, would he come here or could he come here? And I said, I don't think so. And the reason why, because I don't think he would get the money he wants or the touches he wants. Now, to come off of that, if he wants to just win, like DaCosta and Harbaugh said, if he wants to just win, this is the spot for him. But if he's thinking he's going to get a certain amount of catches and a certain amount, like a big dollar amount, it's not going to happen. Not in Baltimore. Sorry. So that's why we gotta. First of all, this whoever we hire for this passing game receivers, it got to be a slam dunk. It got to be a slam dunk. Some new ideas, some innovative stuff. It's just got to light a fire to the offense, but it has to complement the run game too. So we can't just be in two tights and run the ball and then jump out 4 wides and pass the ball every time. We can't. You're gonna have to complement what we do with the run game. All right. D Money said, hit the like button, coach. Please do so. Hit that like button. Jay Will says, Terrence Marshall's a big slot. Let's see what Josh says. Isn't it clear with us keeping Roman and the way we may as well just invest in tight ends over receivers, unless we're thinking they're really going to have a different type of offense? I don't believe that personally. And Josh, that's a good point. If we're gonna go with Roman, tight end probably be an early tight end would probably be better than an early receiver. If we're gonna go with Roman, that's a good point. Our early tight end would probably be better than an early receiver because Roman's gonna be there. So that's kind of one of the reasons I throw out Brevin Jordan also. I don't really like Farmouth, however you say his name. I think he's from Penn State. I don't really like him for what we do, but I think he'd be a great blocker. But I just don't see him as far as being explosive enough to kind of get us yards down the field. Run down more. That was the name. Okay. Robinson would get too expensive. That's what we talked about. Oh, Jay Will talked about the Penn, and that's what I was just talking about too. I think his name is Fairmouth or something like that. Peyton. Somebody said Peyton Manning. Who is the guy, Logan Hood? Who is the guy that helped Josh Allen? I know Josh Allen talked with Tony Romo too. They talked about it on the last game. I think Jeff Garcia don't like Lamar. No, that's Jeff Garcia don't like Cam Newton. That's what that is. Jeff Garcia don't like Cam Newton. And what number you think Lamar extension to Costa mentioned? I don't know about that. That's gonna be a lot of dollars. But we got one question left. Let's get to this last question. Okay. All right, his last question. Coach, who do you think would be a great fit for our offensive line? Creed Humphreys, Deontay Brown, Trey Smith, or Josh Myers? All right, so which one of these kids is the guy from Alabama? Because I have two guys, I just don't know his name. Which one of these kids is from Alabama? Because I know Creed. When Creed came out, Creed was on that line. It was Creed, it was Bobby Evans, it was Cody Ford, it was Ben Powers, and it was who else? It was one more guy. Bobby Evans, Cody Ford, Creed was the center, Ben Powers was one guard. I can't think of the other guard. Well, anyway, when those four were playing together, Leather was a tackle, I think. That's why I think Leather was Brown. So it's Humphreys and Brown is two I'm talking about. But Creed was supposed to be the Coach about to say Cushionberry. I wish we can go back and get Cushionberry. You see, Cushionberry is one of the top rookies. Hey, I tried to tell people. Cushionberry was one of the top rookies in the league. Started, I think, almost every game and balled out. He wasn't great, but he balled out. All right, so definitely, I think Creed would be one, and whichever is the interior guy for Alabama. I don't know his name, so that's why I'm letting you guys kind of throw it out there this year. I don't know his name yet, but I do know Creed Humphreys definitely. So, and I would go with Creed, and whoever the interior guy is from Alabama, because those are the guys I've seen the most. I haven't seen the other ones yet, and they may be better. I just hadn't saw them yet. And Bruno saying Leonard Dickerson, CJ Cush said Leonard Dickerson. I think somebody else said Jimmy says Dickerson also. So I'll go in and kind of get an idea of who these guys are once I get to O-line. Because I'm starting with receivers because I think that's our biggest thing. I'm going to do receivers, and I'm going to do Fairmouth, Pitts, and Jordan, and then I'm going to jump into O-line because I think them are our biggest needs. And even though this content's for everybody, but I'm still going to kind of go in the order of what the Ravens need. All right. So without being, without holding you guys too long, I got this to 29 minutes, which is kind of what I wanted. I appreciate you guys for sending in questions. I appreciate it. Again, the email to continue to do this and be a part of the show next week is sip2tally@gmail.com. Sip2tally, that's SIP, the number 2, tally, TALLY, @gmail.com. And I appreciate you guys for being here. Get those questions in. I enjoyed it. Get them in. Anything that I didn't answer in the chat box, send it to the email, and I'll get it in. But again, this is Coach Evans with Sip2Tally Films, and I'm out, y'all.